I'll give you an example, and let's see what it does. Now it should connect. Now it should connect. Wait, it messed up here. Okay, so I give it the example. It should interpret that it needs to search within and now, here notice it starts with legal docs, which here in theory should be able to connect. Okay? Here notice. Notice here. Now comes the interesting part. It says, hey, how does this tool work? And it tells it, semantic search of legal documents. It has usage examples here. And here it tells it the schema, the search text, how many results, what law, etc. And now it starts here to search. And it says, for example, reading and billing of energy supplies in low voltage. Of course, here this is starting to slip a bit. And it gives it the information from that article. Then here it starts with another type of article. And of course, I'm not seeing it find the information correctly. Because it's searching in energy billing that's done for the energy billing that's done from retailers to the consumer. I mean, you and me in our homes. What I want is for it to search for the information on billing calculations for the companies that generate energy. That's where it's slipping. Here, for example, it says remuneration parameters. But well, let's see here. Here it tells me, I've analyzed several searches, database of legal documents, and this is what I found. The system operator settles. Resolution for technical restrictions. Defines the base operation of daily operating. The code isn't specifically there. Of course, here it already tells me there are possible failures that aren't in the original PDF document. And this is concerning because it means the extraction to the database hasn't been done correctly. I'm going to say here, what do you think is missing from the electrical energy code? All of them should be there. Of course, now we enter the phase of, once we have the tool that's already working, how the user can use it, we get into the details. When it's failing, because if you go in retrospect to see how we can solve it and see if some document failed that hasn't been extracted correctly. And it should tell us here, of course, here it already says a large part of the document is missing. Now it's redoing the entire process because I don't know if there was some error or a document was already there and they got duplicated or something like that, and it should figure it out. Of course, here maybe it's not you. Name, JC. I'm going to call you. But here, JC, the problem I see is, similar to what you mentioned, that the tool has trouble finding the information. Here it's, for example, that maybe the extraction didn't fail, and in the database, it doesn't have it, specifically. I don't know if this is something that happens to you too, or you don't know how to do the debugging. Let's say it's like finding the error. It's quite complex. Here now, in theory, the sections and articles have been processed. The thing is, there's something that maybe isn't selecting correctly. Now, here it already says that Article 31 of Royal Decree 2019, Management and Settlement of each of the System Adjustment Services, here comes how technical restrictions are settled, adjustment services, deviations, but of course, it says it's not there, but it should be. Let's see if it searches directly in the PDF, without going through the tool we've developed, and it has it like that. Of course, here too, JC. Especially consider that working like this with the chat to develop the code. It's not so much right now about continuing to develop code to reach the solution, but rather creating systems so the chat itself can investigate why that error is happening. So you forget a bit first about solving the problem immediately and look for ways to enable the chat to be able to see the results and why the system is failing, and then go find some clear conclusions to know the way you need to proceed to solve and structure the documents correctly. Find the bug in the cable there. Debugging. And now it's here, instead of article, and that's, wait. Look, Forget right now about creating this formula document because the extraction system obviously isn't working correctly. I need you to investigate those parts of the extraction where articles weren't found, because maybe they're written another way. Figure out how any type of legal documentation is structured in this PDF, and create the system, the schema, to structure the information so you can find them all through parsing. This is like driving, you know? Here, if I leave it alone, it crashes and starts right now solving a problem that doesn't matter, because we have a root problem we must solve with higher priority. Anyway, this is like getting a driver's license, but with artificial intelligence. If you don't stop it when you should, you crash. And now, what you're going to do is that identify all sections with 0 extracted articles. It's going to see what happened and propose a solution. We're going to let it work there, and we'll come back. Here it's already found. It says here pattern. Well, there are some called articles. There are others called rules. There are others called provisions, and others that are called annexes. In theory, well, it should already know how to extract it, and it's going to create a new parser to extract the information correctly. Okay, now it's indexing again with that new indexer that it's now called V2, with the new regex patterns to structure the legal document. Let's see when it finishes. We'll test it again.